Okay, so about 2 weeks ago, I made an interesting video on an idea that came into my mind. What if Apple re-released the iPhone 5C? The colored iPhone from 2013, just with an iPhone 10 front. So an iPhone XC, so to say, an iPhone 10C, that would look amazing. And it's not just about the fact that it would look amazing, getting an iPhone 10 in multiple colored options with a plastic back, but manufacturing this phone would be so much cheaper for Apple than, making the iPhone 10, so they could sell this at a really, really low price point. Now, in that video, I talked about the idea of Apple doing something like this with the iPhone SE2. Now, the problem with the iPhone SE2 at the moment is that even though we've had many reports and many leaks that Apple was working on this phone, they weren't sure how to design it. So an iPhone SE1 design, that was one of the options with an upgraded Apple A10 processor and an iPhone 7 camera. That would allow for this phone to be very, very cheap. But I mean, come on, Apple. We need something more interesting than, seeing the iPhone SE1 design, which was an iPhone 5S design, which was an iPhone 5 design from 2012. Again, the second design option was an iPhone SE1, but with a glass back this time, but even this one wasn't as interesting. And finally, the third one was an iPhone 10 style iPhone SE2. But that one would have been so expensive to manufacture. Even if Apple was to stick to a small 4.7 inches or so LCD display, it would still be more expensive than just, adding an Apple A10 processor to the iPhone SE1. Now, we've had some reports that Apple was planning on removing Face ID from the SE2 just to keep the cost low, but I didn't see this happening, and I still don't. In my iPhone XC video, I was mainly talking about the idea of Apple using a plastic back for this iPhone, and then making the back come in multiple colors, and this way Apple could keep Face ID while also keeping the cost quite low. And kids and teenagers, they would be absolutely in love with this phone because of how colorful it is. I mean, even myself, I would love to have an iPhone XC in blue or white plastic. I think that will look pretty good. But all this was just an idea. However, last week, Ming-Chi Kuo, the person with literally the best track record when it comes to Apple leaks and predicting future Apple products, he said that Apple is working on some new colors for the 2018 iPhone lineup, mostly the 6.1-inch iPhone Lite. So this has been a crazy long intro. So here's all the updates on the iPhone Lite, the cheapest iPhone for 2018. Okay, so Ming-Chi Kuo reported that the 2018 iPhone 10 and the iPhone 10 Plus would come in 3 colors instead of 2. So we would have black or space gray, white or silver, as well as gold. So the gold would actually be the exact same one that we got with the iPhone 8, the iPhone 8 Plus. The only difference being the frame, which instead of being aluminum, depending on where you're based in, it would be made out of stainless steel. So pretty much really similar to the gold Apple Watch, just with a gold coating instead of actual gold that, the original Series 0 Apple Watch, the really expensive one, was made from. Now, this one was actually leaked as a prototype back in 2017, but it never made it to the final production. Why? Well, we don't really know. My guess is that Apple had some issues with the stainless steel frame, maybe some discoloration, as it was just a gold coating, not actual gold, and that's probably why Apple decided to postpone it. Fun fact, by the way, the iPhone 4 in white was also delayed by quite a few months because of some discoloration issues that Apple was facing, so it won't be the first time that Apple has delayed a product because of this issue. Now, aside from this, Ming-Chi Kuo says that the entry-level iPhone, the 6.1-inch iPhone 10 Lite, it won't be called the Lite, by the way, this is just the name that I've been giving it to make it simple for you guys. It won't be called the Lite, probably the 6.1-inch iPhone, but this would be Apple's cheapest iPhone for 2018, especially if the SE2 has been truly cancelled, as we've seen reported by so many sources. So this would come with an LCD panel instead of OLED, an aluminum frame instead of a stainless steel frame, and possibly 3 GB of RAM instead of 4 GB of RAM like on the iPhone 10 Plus. But everything else would be identical, and Kuo says that this iPhone would be getting some brand new colors. He said that it would come in a rainbow of colors, just like the iPhone 5C from back in 2013. So the new colors would actually be gray, white, blue, red, and orange. So these are the exact names that he specified. Now, I do believe the gray one to actually be space gray, white would probably be silver, orange would probably be the gold one, red would actually be similar to the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 8 Plus in red. So in the end, the only true new color would actually be the blue one. Fun fact number 2, I've only used black smartphones or phones since 2006 or even 2005, that's when I got my first phone. but yeah, quite some time. So my first non-black phone was actually my Galaxy S9 Plus, which I finally got in coral blue, so a different color than black. And this one looks amazing. I love how the shade of blue changes depending on how the light gets reflected. So a blue iPhone would look so good. I probably still won't get one myself in blue, as I do prefer the neutral or the non-colors, but it would still look really good. And here's the ZONEofTECH concept of all the other colors of the 6.1-inch iPhone 2018. So space gray, then we have the silver, then we have the red, then here's the gold, as well as the new blue color. Which one would you pick? Let me know in the comments. Now, OnLeaks, who's also a really huge leaker, he reports that Apple's been prototyping several new colors for the 2018 iPhones. He doesn't really specify which 2018 iPhone model, but in addition to Ming Chi Kuo, he says that a lighter gray, a yellow, and an orange, as well as a pink, those are the color options that are currently being considered by Apple. So yellow or orange, one of those would be that gold option most likely. And aside from this, Bloomberg actually reports that in 2018, LG would be the second display manufacturer for the iPhones, not just Samsung. And these panels would actually be OLED panels, and according to the report, LG would be supplying between 2 to 4 million display panels for Apple. Now, we don't really know if the LG panels would be restricted to a specific market, or if you would have a random chance of having both either a Samsung or an LG panel inside your iPhone. I'm just hoping that LG managed to improve on their mobile display quality, because no one wants, the Pixel 2 XL incident again. It had a lot of display issues, the color shift was quite bad, so yeah, we don't want that to happen again, this time with Apple. So hopefully it doesn't happen. And speaking of this, the investor reports that Apple is investing $2.67 billion in LG's OLED display manufacturing. So Apple's basically helping LG develop their mobile display business, because at the moment, especially when it comes to the OLED display business, this is dominated by Samsung and Samsung alone, which by the way is actually overcharging Apple for the iPhone X's display. Fun fact number 3. So in return, LG would be offering Apple with much cheaper OLED panels for future iPhones. And then a Chinese news publication, Business Herald, by the way, I haven't heard any reports from them before, so I'm not really sure how legit they are, but they said that Apple would be including eSIMs or electronic SIMs or embedded SIMs, Apple SIMs with the 2018 iPhones, while also offering a SIM slot. So you won't be losing the SIM slot, you will just be gaining that electronic SIM. And this is quite big, by the way. Electronic Apple SIMs is something that the 2017 iPad Pros come with. Essentially, you simply go to settings and then you select a carrier, and that's basically it. You can actually switch carrier at any time you wish, and you don't even need an actual SIM. So why is this big? Well, time for a story time with Daniel. So back in 2014, I had a fairly bad experience, so I was mugged. In case you don't know what mugged means, basically 2 guys came to me and a friend, and they threatened that they would stab us if we didn't give them our phones. Anyway, that's a story for maybe another time. But at that time, I had an iPhone 5S, and that was actually my first iPhone, the first iPhone that I purchased with my own money. And that was while I was at university. So I really liked that phone, and I couldn't afford getting a new one after that at that time. But yeah, basically it did get stolen, and they removed the SIM immediately. So Find My iPhone wouldn't work, so I never managed to track that phone, by the way. But yeah, if it had an eSIM, that wouldn't have happened, because electronic SIMs are built into the phone and they cannot be removed. So having an eSIM would basically stop a huge portion of smartphone thefts. Funny how I started this video on a positive note and ended up with me being mugged. Sorry guys. Yeah, let me know in the comments what are your thoughts on the 6.1-inch iPhone, eSIM support, and also the new colors. Now, in terms of the actual price, Google predicts around $600 to $700 in the US, possibly $699 in the US, and most likely £699 in the UK, because why not? We have a 1-to-1 conversion ratio on pretty much every single Apple product, including the new MacBooks, so why not? But yeah, definitely subscribe if you want to see more interesting videos like this one and more Leaks from Rumors episodes. Enable notifications by tapping on that bell, and you'll be notified as soon as a new video comes out. Feel free to dislike if you've enjoyed it, let me know. And this has been pretty much it. So thank you for watching. I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys in my next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.